all the abuse, all the lies, all the gaslighting, all the manipulation, you're going to put up with it. When at the beginning of the relationship, had you seen that, you probably wouldn't have been as keen to accept it. But the narcissist doesn't show you their true colors at the beginning, do they? Yo, 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 welcome back to the show. My name is Kira. This is Psychopath Exposure. Want to read a comment that came in from Andra1160. She says, yes, you are correct. At some point, you have to accept the fact that you allowed the narcissist to treat you badly. Hard facts. Acknowledge and move on. Learn to value yourself. My ex-narc used to say, you don't like yourself very much. He was right. To allow him to lie, manipulate me, bully me, cheat on and steal from me, yes, I had no self-worth. It's when I realized I do have value. I gained the strength to move on. Now, I set and stand firm on my boundaries. Hell yeah. Thank you for that. You know, we cover a lot of topics here on the channel, and for those of us that have been through narcissistic abuse, but with a true narcissist, I'm not talking about someone with narcissistic traits, but they were really an alcoholic, because that's another beast. We're not talking about just an asshole, just a jerk that was playing a lot of women at the same time, and he just fell in love with the wrong guy that, you know, he told you all this BS, but you know he was a player. We're not just talking about some chick, right, that's just dating, or, you know, we're not talking about a whore here, okay? We're talking about a deranged psychopath. We're talking about a narcissist, somebody that truly has the narcissist personality disorder. It's this thing, okay? It starts a certain way, goes through a phase, transforms into another phase, and by that time, you have lost yourself. You went from thinking this person was your soulmate, the person that God Almighty brought to your life. You couldn't believe how many things you had in common. You loved everything about them. They loved everything about you. But it happened so fast. That's another thing. It happened so fast. And the love bombing was so overwhelming. And everything was great. But as the relationship progressed, instead of becoming better, instead of growing, instead of having conflict, resolving, growing from it, building something, building love, building that trust that continues to grow over time, especially when they show loyalty over time, especially when you get into arguments or fights and you come out stronger from it. You don't run from it. You don't run from the conflict like a lot of people nowadays do. They get in one little fight and they just ghost you. They get in one little fight and you get silent treatment. Now, whatever happened to getting into a fight, duking it out, right? Maybe taking an hour to cool off and then coming back, hey babe, you know, I love you, you know, let's talk about it, and having a good, decent conversation, right? Maybe a little makeup sex, you know, everybody loves that, right? But being able to continue and talk and work through things, and then for that thing that you fought about doesn't come up again. That thing, that very same thing that you guys had a battle about, doesn't come up again. If someone mistreats you and you tell them, hey, I felt disrespected when you said this, or when you said it this way, I felt disrespected, and they double down on it and then they ghost you, that person's immature, that person sucks at conflict resolution, and that person's most likely going to do the same thing again next week. All right? So what ends up happening when you're with a narcissist is that they take away your self-worth, they take away your confidence. They take away your ability to fight back because you are so afraid at that point of losing the relationship. You are so afraid of being alone that you're going to put up with all the abuse, all the lies, all the gaslighting, all the manipulation. You're going to put up with it. When at the beginning of the relationship, had you seen that, you probably wouldn't have been as keen to accept it. But the narcissist doesn't show you their true colors at the beginning, do they? When you look back, after you've gone through the discard, after you've binged the videos, after you've done the work, now you go back and you're like, son of a bitch, All the red flags were there. Damn right they were there. But the narcissist is very good at masking them. The better you get at this shit, the better you'll recognize those red flags later. You'll be able to notice inconsistencies, but you can't just cut someone off that you just met just because they said one little thing that reminded you of something your narcissist said and blah, 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 blah. No, but you can keep a mental note of that. You can keep a mental note of that and see if it comes up again, see if it comes up again. And then that's the validation to need, aha, that was a red flag. But we didn't know what we were dealing with before. This is the first time for a lot of us dealing with someone like this, that it was actually a true narcissist. We didn't know. So when they did and when they said things, we were like, ooh, that sounds bad. Like my psychopath ex did a lot of shit at the beginning. A lot of shit. A lot of tantrums that she threw in front of her parents. The first time she met my parents, she threw a tantrum with her mom on the phone in the back seat of the car. My parents were like spooked to even say a word. I was looking at her, I was like, are you out of your mind? You just met my parents and you're gonna tell your mom off in the car? But I didn't know about this narcissism. I didn't know about this psychopathy thing. I thought it was only something from the movies. I didn't know that that was her way of pretty much letting you know, don't fuck with me, because you don't want to see this demon. Okay? Most people, the majority of people of human society would be respectful of their partner's parents, would be respectful to be in the company of others, period, and would not take that call at that time. And if they have to take the call, they'll be very respectful, keep the voice low, but they're not going to cuss out their own mom in front of the parents of the partner. You see? So those are things that would happen. Those are clearly red flags. And I addressed them, but I had no idea about this narcissist shit. If I would have known, if something like that were to happen now, different story. I tell you guys all the time, once you heal from this, once you get through this, this is never going to happen to you again if you've actually done the work, if you've actually found your self-esteem and your self-worth and your confidence. It's not going to happen. The reason we think it might happen again is because we haven't healed. If you're still ruminating and you're still getting panic attacks and you think, oh my God, if I ever meet another one, and it triggers all this anxiety again, it's because the brain needs proof, not promise. See, your narcissist discarded you, cheated on you, destroyed you, and you didn't get a chance to stand up for yourself the way you wish you would have. But you have to let that go. You can't go back now and fight them. You have to let that go. But I promise you, in the next relationship, if someone disrespects you that way, if you've done the work, you will not put up with it. Because let me tell you, life will test you. They will send somebody. They will send somebody to test you again. It doesn't have to be the very next person that you date, but it could be a coworker, it could be a family member that all of a sudden lashes out, it could be a longtime friend, all of a sudden they do something, and you're like, oh, this is not narcissistic, but this crosses my boundaries, and you need to address it. And the more you address it, the more confidence you have, and then no one's gonna fuck with you. It's about strengthening your boundaries. You have to have boundaries. We thought we had boundaries at first. I know I thought I had a lot of boundaries when I first met the psychopath. At the beginning, I was like, I can get any girl I want. I'm not gonna put up with this shit, you know. But I was like, but I don't want to be that guy. Let me not ruin this, because this girl, she seems to be everything I've ever wanted. Let's not do this. Now let's give her the benefit of the doubt. And then we start to bargain. We start to, maybe I'm looking at it from another perspective. Maybe I should look at it this way. Maybe I should look at it that way. But the red flags were really black flags from the beginning. I just didn't know. So if you've gone through a situation like this, okay? If you've gone through a situation like this, at first, you're a victim. We're all victims of something like this. But the point of this channel is to go from victim to warrior, from survivor to thriver. It's not to dwell in victimhood forever. It's not to dwell in that weakened state forever. It's to be able to find yourself and rise from this and fight back and stand up for who you are and for your rights, for your beliefs, for yourself. The narcissist does not respect you. And the narcissist hates people that respect themselves. because they truly have no such thing. They got no values, they got no respect. As far as I'm concerned, they're just demons. They got no self-love, they got no self-respect. So they're gonna project that onto you. And they're gonna tell you things like, oh, you don't love yourself, do you? Do you love yourself? Do you respect yourself? They're gonna straw man is what they're gonna do. They're gonna straw man and they're gonna throw that at you. And it's not even true, but you're gonna find yourself defending the fallacy that they just threw at you. It's a manipulative tactic that narcissists and psychopaths use. They will straw man you. If you really loved yourself, you don't even have to answer that question. You don't even have to answer that question. As a matter of fact, if somebody even asks you that question, it will be so, it's like, what are you even talking about? How is that even relevant? You're so stupid. But what do? We're like, we start stuttering. We try to convince the narcissist of something that no matter what you say will never be the right answer. It's never going to be the right answer with a narcissist. They're always going to spin it. They're always going to goalpost. You're never going to be good enough. You're never good enough for these people. You're not going to win. You have to get out. You have to run from these relationships. And I know that it gets hard. And I know sometimes you have assets attached. And I know that you have children. It's not easy, and it's not supposed to be easy. But you cannot coexist with a partner that has narcissist personality disorder. You cannot coexist with somebody who's your enemy, because they are your enemy. They treat you like an enemy, don't they? So you're sleeping with the enemy, technically. I believe there was a movie about that in the 80s. So I love what she says, what Andra says. When I realized I do have value, I gained the strength to move on. We all have value, but the narcissist has clouded it. The narcissist has put you under a spell, and you can't even see what's going on, much less have any type of introspective perspective. I think that's what that word means. You can't see through the brain fog. It's one big gaslight. That's why you're always confused. That's why there's so much cognitive dissonance. You're under the spell of the narcissist. And meanwhile, you're under this spell, they're probably grooming someone else right now, right in front of you, and you can't see it. The person they tell you it's their friend is actually the person they're cheating on you with. The person they bring to your house, it's like, why are you bringing this other woman here? That's the person they're cheating on you with. It's crazy, isn't it? Try explaining this to your friends. They're not going to believe you, but you know it's true. You know it happened. How long do you want to stay in that relationship? Well, when you're ready to put down that shit sandwich, because it no longer tastes good. As a matter of fact, it always tasted like shit. You were just being gaslighted. Then maybe at that point, things will start getting better for you. But you need boundaries. You need to establish those boundaries, and the narcissist is not going to respect your boundaries. They will always challenge them. They will push them. They will push them to see how far back your boundaries are going to go. They love that. They revel in that. Don't try to beat the narcissist at their own game. It's just not going to work. You can't play the game. The only way to win is not to play. You have to develop an exit strategy. You have to realize exactly what it is that you're dealing with. You got to cut your losses, because it's never going to get better. I can help you. I have a private coaching program where I help hundreds of survivors of narcissistic abuse put together an exit plan, get their thoughts, in order, clear the brain fog, give them the validation that they deserve, because the narcissist robs you of all validation. That way you can see clear. Once you start seeing clear, once you have clarity in your life, it's easier to make decisions. But when your entire life is in chaos, in shambles, when your partner is your enemy, you're too afraid to make any type of decision, no matter how big or small. Can't you see? Can't you see that their influence is constantly destroying you? Can't you see that? And if you can't see it because of the brain fog, don't you feel it? What do you feel? If not panic, anxiety, fear. Is that what you feel most of the time? Especially when you're around the narcissist? Especially when you know, uh-oh, the narcissist just pulled up. Oh, there goes my peace. If you're feeling that and that's your partner, better start making some changes, because that's going to be the rest of your life unless they discard you. And then you got to deal with the aftermath and the agony of that. The discard is brutal. Some of you feel like you've already been discarded and you're still married and they're still there in the living room, blatantly talking to other women. My psychopath ex was in a relationship with another dude and would be in bed chatting with him right next to me. And I would be too afraid to glance over the laptop, afraid of seeing the chat window. Until one day she left the laptop there, went to the bathroom. I know it was on purpose. Left the chat window there, and yeah, when I glanced, there it was. But I thought you had blocked him. I thought you had blocked him. When did you unblock him? You know, I laugh now because it's so ridiculous. You know, I wish I could go back in time and inject the knowledge and wisdom that I have now so things could play out differently, but it had to go that way. If it hadn't gone that way, I wouldn't be here talking to you and sharing my experience with you. So it had to go that way. And for a lot of you, it had to go that way too. But just know that you have the choice to change things now, moving forward. You have the choice to have a better life and to have a better future. How long are you going to wait? Hopefully not too long. Leave a comment below. Share your story with us. Share your stories with the communities. Let us know how you went from victim to warrior, from survivor to thriver. When was it that you finally made the choice? When you finally took action, when you made that hard decision to leave or to terminate the relationship? How long did it take? What did it take? What was the final straw for you? Leave a comment below and drop a like on the video if you got some value out of this. Thanks, guys. That's all I got for today. I'll see you in the next video. Remember to subscribe if this is your first time here in the channel. This is Psychopath Exposure. My name is Kita, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a wonderful rest of your day.